Hey, what's up you guys? You're watching Team APS, Paul here. In today's video, we're going to talk about things you can do when you're a little bit bored with Yu-Gi-Oh! To rejuvenate your interest or kind of refresh your perspective. So let's get started. So to explain a little bit more, I'm not going to be suggesting that you quit Yu-Gi-Oh! So that's fine, don't worry, it's not anything like that. These are just things that you can do when like your interest is waning, maybe the format's gotten a bit stale, maybe your locals are just, your interest in the game is like, This is kind of stuff you can do to rejuvenate your interest and have a little bit of fun, maybe gain a new perspective. So yeah. Number 1, revisit a classic format. The most popular of which is usually considered GOAT, but there are plenty of others. This is basically just, make a deck from a previous format that you enjoyed, or maybe even a format that you never got to play in, and just play in that. Find some friends who like it too, and it can be a lot of fun. I know a lot of people at my locals and plenty of places love to play GOAT format. Now, I personally am not a huge fan of GOAT format. I mean, it's fun and it's kind of strategic and that's the appeal of it, but personally, I love just the idea of going back and playing in Necraz format or Dragon Ruler format or, Cat Synchro format. That was actually one of my favorites because like X-Sabers were at their prime. So there are plenty, and Teledad's another popular one. Like Blackwing format, and just all these kinds of things. So definitely one that I think is a good way to gain a bit of a new perspective. You don't have to play in the current format if it's feeling boring to you. Now, as of recording this video, I think this format's pretty interesting and pretty diverse, but we've had some really stale formats in the past in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where people have just felt almost deflated and they just don't care to play. It's just, whatever, the meta might just be too kind of polarizing. So this is a good way to learn something about previous formats that maybe you didn't get to play in, or just relive them, because that in itself can be a whole lot of fun. So look into it. I mean, obviously you'll find the most information about playing GOAT format and some of the different ways that you can build that, but there are plenty of others, so that's a good one. Number 2, try to bring an old deck into the modern day. Now, I'm not saying that some random, really old deck can become like highly competitive in 2016, 2017. That's not really gonna happen, but I do think that it can be fun to take something that's just considered trash, like Genex or Ice Barriers, and just explore it, because why not? If you're bored with the game and you have time on your hands, you still wanna play, you still wanna, be inventive with Yu-Gi-Oh!, then take one of those older decks, those decks that like barely got support. What's that one, like Steel Swarms, or just kind of these random decks, you never hear about them. The goal isn't to make them win the next YCS, the goal is to just say like, no one, like everyone else has given up on this deck. Why not, find something, some new cards, some new twists, and kind of incorporate it all and see how competitive you can make this deck. Can you push it to the absolute limit and break it? Even if that means it's only maybe rogue status, the fact of the matter is you get to enjoy kind of playing with an old deck that everyone thinks is underrated. And then when you randomly beat people at locals with like, your Gusto deck or your, Genex deck or something, or Jirox, you can honestly take pride in the fact that that's not something that happens and you thought of it. So it's not just, going online and looking up a deck list. It's really kind of sorting through cards and seeing what works and seeing how you can push this deck to the limit. So that's something that I've done, and I've actually done that with a lot of friends, and we've had a lot of fun. In fact, before I found out about how the Chain Dog worked, fun story, some friends and I got together and just made like a basic little beast deck. We were kind of working with Moja and King of the Beast and Beast Striker. And then we came across Chain Dog and we were like, wow, like this can actually make Xyz really easily because you can keep bringing it back and keep making Xyz monsters. We later found out, of course, the updated ruling on how Chain Dog works, where like you have to have exactly 2 beasts or something along those lines, but it was still really fun. So try to do that yourself and see what you can come up with. Number 3, organize your collection. This might seem kind of random, but there is a point, so follow along here. First of all, your collection's probably in a complete mess. I know a lot of people just kind of stuff commons wherever, and they just stuff cards everywhere, and like they haven't really organized their decks and their binders, and things are in all kinds of crazy orders and wild places. Trust me, we know, between all of me and like my roommates and stuff, we've got cards kind of everywhere all the time. It's crazy. But whenever we go through and sort through cards, that's sometimes when you find the best tech cards or ideas for decks. So funny story, when we were in the early phases of building Dark Magician, this was before like Eternal Soul and before Inheritance and some of the other things, we were like trying to see like, okay, what are some cool cards we can tech in this deck and make it better, because at the time Dark Magician was kind of pissed. So we were looking through cards, and I actually came across Fusion Conscription, and we were kind of, you know, torn between it and like Summoner's Art for which card would be better, but I thought it was really cool because it could get the card from the graveyard, and it kind of worked with Dark Paladin anyway. So it was just a really interesting tech that we wouldn't have found otherwise. And sometimes you can find, you know, a groundbreaking tech even for like a high up meta deck, or just a deck that you're having a lot of fun with. So definitely take the time to look through your commons and kind of sort through your binder. Plus it means like when you sort through your binder, you get to feel a little bit more accomplished when it's organized and nice and neat. It makes trading easier, and you can actually find the decks and the cards and stuff that you've been looking for. So yeah, definitely take the time and just kind of do some house cleaning. Number 4, try out some alternate tournament types. Phil and I made a video about this a long time ago, and there's, you know, we still excluded some, but you know, there are different alternative tournaments that you can do. When the meta is getting stale, or your locals is just oversaturated with, you know, kind of boring meta decks or something, try playing tag duels, or try playing sealed format, or, you know, come up with something yourself. Like we kind of had this one idea where like you switch decks with your opponent when you start playing. So that was kind of fun. And there are just plenty of others, you know, play with your deck turned like upside down, right? Like you see the top card at all times, or play with your hand revealed. Things like that, they're fun. Obviously it's not meant to be taken seriously. Sure, you could say it's scrubby and like you're not getting anything out of it, but honestly, when you're bored with Yu-Gi-Oh, sometimes things like that completely like turn the game on its head, and you have a bit of fun, and you might be surprised at the different perspectives that you'll get from it. Like I said, I like tag dueling just because it's like you get a second person beside you. So a lot of the kind of stress and salt and contention and sort of all that stuff between just two players in a one-on-one is alleviated when you got a partner to talk through and discuss plays with, and you know, there's some joint accountability there. I think that's a lot of fun. And of course, I also do like playing like sealed formats. They're a good time. Grab some battle packs. Battle pack boxes are cheap too. Like you can get a friend and get the most recent battle pack and like just easily draft that. In fact, one battle pack box is only like battle pack 3 is only like around $35, and it's like 36 packs. So it's actually enough for 4 people if you want to do a mini tournament. So it's something to look into. And last but not least, watch the anime. I know it sounds lame for people who just don't really care about that, but honestly, the anime isn't so bad. And I don't mean just rewatch Duel Monsters. I mean just watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal or something you haven't seen. I know a lot of people like will give crap to stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal or even 5Ds and GX. No, it's not the original. Just watch any of the animes. Whatever is your favorite, you can just watch that, or watch one that you haven't seen. Watch Arc 5. That's something that I've been kind of trying to do with the twins, is they keep up with Arc 5, and I haven't really been doing that, but we sort of tried watching it together, and I was like, it's interesting. It's kind of fun because, you know, outside of the fact that yes, it's mostly a laughable, you know, sort of dub and all that stuff with cheesy voice acting and things, you do get to see the meta cards that you use every day kind of play in a more like innocent, just anime-ish context, and it's kind of funny, and I enjoy it at least. So plus you can see them like break the rules and top deck dumb cards for the win. I think that it's actually a lot of fun. It's like a refresher course. When I watch the anime, I usually come across something and then I'm like, you know, I kind of want to build that deck. Or like example, with Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, we were watching it, and that character Shark, who uses those banished fish monsters and all that stuff, like Deep Sea Trench and all that, I was like, I kind of want to build that deck. The deck's not great, don't get me wrong, but because he used them, and you know, in the show they make it seem like he's such a good duelist, I was like, yeah, maybe I should play this, and it's not the worst thing. Same with Kite Tinjo in that same show. He uses like galaxy monsters, so I was like, I kind of want to build a galaxy deck. So give it a try. You might be surprised, honestly. If nothing else, it's a good laugh, and at best, it might really make you want to play a new deck. So give it a try. So those are 5 things that you can do to help restore your interest in Yu-Gi-Oh! When you're a little bit bored. These can just range from, like I said, building a new deck, trying a new format, rewatching anime, organizing your stuff, all kinds of things. So yeah, in the comments, let me know what other ways you use to sort of restore your interest in things when you're a bit bored with the game. Hopefully this helps some of you guys out who are just not really super engaged right now. Hopefully it's good advice. So yeah, remember, thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe if you love the video, and I'm gonna be making more Yu-Gi-Oh! Content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as per usual. Check out my sponsor, TCGplayer, And I think that's gonna be it. So I'll see you guys in the next one.